What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. First of all, what's going on? 2 of these episodes in a month? Am I feeling okay? It's time for the US Grand Prix. We're running out of races in this season of career mode. We are running out of chances to beat Fernando Alonso in the driver's standings. It is still very, very close between the two of us. Fernando Alonso does, in fact, have the lead of the Drivers' Championship, but with a bit of fortune, hopefully, we can claw back some points in this Grand Prix. We need to get some upgrades going. We have 3,000 resource points, but nothing to spend them on. We are currently limited by the lack of Spec 3 upgrades, I think in all departments. We can't do the ultimate upgrades that we want. Actually, yes, we can, apparently, for the chassis side. But, yeah, we've got a lot of work to do, and we need to get it done now to have a chance in this championship.
Okay, I need your attention. The tech regulations are changing. There's a risk some of our hard work will be undone, so we need to mitigate it. As soon as you can, I want you to look at the developments we have and tell us what areas you want to invest in protecting.
Well then, that's thrown a spanner in the works. We have regulation changes heading our way. Ooh, nice telemetry. Get a good look at that. We have regulation changes coming for next season. So we'll have a look and see what is actually affected, because this could throw a real spanner into the works and stop our development right here and now. And look at that. All 3 performance departments are affected by the regulation changes. Aero, chassis, powertrain. Unfortunately, the durability is unaffected. So because of the sheer amount of upgrades that we have to spend all our resource points saving these so that we have a competitive car for next season. And maybe this is our sign to stop upgrading this year's car. Maybe to start focusing on next season, because we could get a major leg up on the competition. We're currently at the ceiling of our potential upgrades that we can do right now. We still need to save up money, so this might be it for our season, unfortunately, in terms of competitive upgrades. But I think it might be the same case for the AI, because, well, the front runners at least have more upgrades than what we do, so they're going to be in an even trickier spot, I think, with resource points and upgrades to save, that I think we could genuinely gain over the winter heading into Season 4. So, interesting scenes as we weigh up the strategy of what we do. We've had the Friday practice programs and the resource points come in, so we're just adapting even more parts. We prioritized weight reduction in our first bout of spending, but now we're delving into the aero side and making that a bit more balanced. Final saving spending is done there. And that is the state of play heading into the US Grand Prix. Only Red Bull, Ferrari, and Alfa Romeo really improving. Everyone else kind of staying the same. And I don't imagine anyone's going to upgrade now for the rest of the season, given that they have to adapt parts that they do put on. So there's going to be a mass spending spree on trying to consolidate the upgrades that we already have. So yeah, I think that's going to be GG's. It's going to be quite the deficit in terms of car pace to try and topple the might of McLaren and the other teams at the front of the order. But, you know, we've seen stranger things. There could be engine failures, there could be crashes, there could be all sorts that could help get us a leg up over the competition. But it is certainly, guys, going to be an uphill battle from here to win either championship. Either way, chucking in our newest or newer components for engines are actually okay on this side. We've taken a few penalties here and there, so maybe that's the performance leg up we could get. We're in a better position than other teams in terms of our engine components. But time for qualifying for the US Grand Prix. I don't usually go well here. The AI are pretty OP, but let's see how we do. All right, let's get raring into this race. This is always the qualifying session where you get absolutely blinded by the sun. I'll spare you guys that for Q1. We did make it through with our soft compound tires. Again, because of the harshness of the tire wear with these current set of regulations, we're currently always going for the harder compound strategy, just so simply we have a chance of making it to the end on a 1 or 2 stop. So what that does is it gives us an extra set of hards for the race. However, the compromise is you sacrifice one of your softs in qualifying for that extra set of hards. So it makes these qualifying sessions actually really difficult. So what I have to do is, in Q1, my banker lap is done on a medium set. Then at the end of Q1, I use my first set of softs. Q2, I used a scrub set of softs from Q1. And then here in Q2, this is our final set of softs. So yeah, it's tricky. If we do get into Q3, that's when we use the brand new set of soft tires that get given to us by the FIA. So yeah, it's a risky strategy, but it means that we're more well poised for the race because the tire wear is simply outrageous. But heading through the last corner now, hopefully this is good enough to get us through to Q3. We have a pretty quick car, but so does everyone else across the line. And it is only P12 in the US Grand Prix. Théo Pourchaire, who's on fire right now, pace-wise, form-wise, was only 3/10 ahead of us. And the AI are always quicker in quality than what they are in the race. So that's about expected, really. I knew there'd be some kind of deficit to my teammate given the strength of the AI at this circuit and the lack of tires that we had available to us in qualifying. We had one less set of softs than everyone else. So we were always fighting with one hand tied behind our back. However, it's P12. We're still fairly close to the front of the field, and we are always quicker in the races than what we are in qualifying. So I'm not too worried. The pace is very close. It's very competitive at the top of the field, and I know it's only P12, but there's so many teams at the top that are potentially ahead of us as well. So disappointed slightly, but not surprised. 11-point deficit to Fernando Alonso. We're going to need a big race here to claw back some points in this championship. But let's go to the US Grand Prix.
Welcome once again then to the United States Grand Prix here in the magnificent city of Austin. It was here in 2018 that Kimi Räikkönen delighted the world by taking the top step of the podium for the first time in 114 races. There's always a record to be broken, so what I wonder is in store for us here today. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Fernando Alonso lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Magnussen, Schwartzman, Théo Pourchaire, Ocon, and Sergio Perez, Benjamin, Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, and Tictum, Albon, Oscar Piastri, Lance Stroll, and Lewis Hamilton, Joe, Russell, Latifi, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Mick Schumacher. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Natalie Pinkham. Now, our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn one?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get a clean start. And this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space. And finding your braking point into turn one as well. It's testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Time for the race then, for the US Grand Prix. Only one minor change from qualifying, and that's Lewis Hamilton starting in 18th place by virtue of a grid penalty. My teammate Théo Pourchaire made it to 8th in the starting blocks of this Grand Prix, so hopefully he can kick on from there and get a top 5. I don't think that's unreasonable from my teammate who, in the Japanese Grand Prix, won the race, dominated. Yes, he might have got help by me, but, you know, who knows? We might be able to work together, work our way through the fields, and come away with some big points finishes in today's Grand Prix. Now, the game keeps on understating the tyre degradation in these races. We know it's going to be a two-stop race. Medium, hard, medium is the plan, but we also have a second set of hards up our sleeve in case we want to do that, because our second set of mediums is used. We did, of course, use that in qualifying in Q1, like I said. So a bit of sting taken out of those tires. I think they're about 90%. Well, 10% worn, sorry. So, yeah. we'll see how the tire dead comes, and the timing of safety cars as well, I think, will be quite important. Of course, simulation damage in my career mode, so we do have to be careful heading into turn 1, but equally the AI also have to be careful, and they haven't been so. They've been quite reckless in recent races. I'm expecting almost a safety car at some point with all the low-speed corners. The AI are going to be dive bombing here and there, and then there's the fast S's where if you're running side by side, very easy to lose a bit of carbon fiber. So here we go. The formation lap is completed. Everyone is set and ready to get this Grand Prix underway, and we can see how this season closes out in Season 3. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the US Grand Prix, and it's not been a good start. It's been a fantastic one for Pierre Gasly as we head into turn 1, blocking off Dan Ticktum as we run uphill into this first corner. We do get turned in on by the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. Guess he just didn't see us there. We must have been in his blind spot. So that's our first warning already of this race. 3 of those on strict corner cutting. And it is a 3-second time penalty. Usually the AI never have to worry about that business because they are inch perfect every single time. And always right on the pace, right from word go. Us as a player, you know, we're not quite that consistent. We always have to build up our pace and our tyre temperatures, which the AI also don't really suffer with all too much. That's a McLaren front wing going scattered at the hairpin, leading onto this back straight. So we could see an early pit stop from either Fernando Alonso or Robert Schwartzman. We'll have to wait and see. Our straight line speed is not great. We get overtaken straight away by Pierre Gasly and the AlphaTauri, which is one of the most efficient cars in a straight line in the whole field. So, yeah, Pierre is going to be quite the thorn in our side of the early stages of this race. Teo, my teammate, dropping 1 place down to P9. Like I said, there is a McLaren who should be struggling. So we'll see the effects of that with an early pit stop, potentially this lap. So I'm guessing it's Teo. It's not Teo Pourchaire. It's Robert Schwartzman, given that he's actually dropping off the next group of cars. I think there's an Alpine ahead of him with a bit of an air gap. So unfortunately, it's not our championship rival. He's in P1 leading this race. So we got to get a wriggle on and get through these guys. But fortunately, I actually feel quite fast in this race. I feel like we can actually do something in this Grand Prix. But we've geared the setup to be very quick through the corners. Very quick in qualifying. And that didn't exactly amount to anything, did it? We're running very high wings. I think it's like 34 and 28 wings in that kind of ballpark, which is quite high on the grand scheme of things, especially for a circuit like this where you've got that long back straight. But nice little replay there of us getting Sergio Perez and now into the points. Robert Schwartzman is braving it out on that broken front wing, and I think he needs to for the sake of making his tyre strategy work with how harsh the tyre wear is. If he boxes now, he still has to stop another once or twice to get to the end. There's another front wing piece missing, and someone's going slowly up here. I think it's one of the Ferraris. No, it's Max Verstappen who's gone slowly, and I think he might be out of the Grand Prix. I think he was retiring or pulling off to the side there. Lando Norris has gone through for P5. We overtook a bunch of cars who were going really slow behind Verstappen, and we got an illegal overtake, so we had to give the place back to Norris. But either way, that's been a massive net gain for us in this race. We are ahead of one of the McLarens. George Russell is out of the Grand Prix as well in the Haas. So we could potentially see a safety car. However, it has been about 30 or 40 seconds now, so I don't think we're going to get one. So we're going to crack on. Lap 3, and the tyre wear is already 23% on the front right tyre on mediums. You know, that's kind of normal on softs, but mediums. I want to say the tyre wear is almost like double what it would be otherwise, or what it was earlier on in the season. Pirelli, or the FIA, whatever mandate they made, they brought more softer compound, more aggressive tyres for better racing, more degradation and more strategy. It certainly is working at this stage. Safety car is now deployed, and I'm actually not sure what that's for. There's an Alfa Romeo going really slowly in the end of the second sector. They are taken away by the marshals, and we're down to 19 runners in this race. Everyone opting to box, and we're going to do the same. So we try and overtake Lando Norris around the outside into the pit lane, which is legal, by the way. As we've seen in online races, you can actually overtake under safety car heading into the pit lane, which I personally don't understand, because it's you're entering a live pit lane with people, and it's not safe. Not one bit. Anyway, double stack for Ferrari, double stack here in Marduk Motorsport. Basically, every team is going to be bringing in both cars at this point with how high the tyre wear is. An early stop like this means we probably have to do hards again after this to get to the end. So we've come out now on a fresh set of hard compound tyres. These tyres will probably do 12, 13 laps if we're lucky. I know that's really crazy to say, but we will be lucky to get that amount of tyre life out of the hards. And then we'll have to go hards again to get to the end. However, the AI may be able to get away with medium, hard, medium, potentially. Or actually, looks like they've gone medium and then medium again. So they'll be ending on hard. So either way, from here, guys, it is a 2-stop race guaranteed. Pierre Gasly has opted to stay out, as is Lewis Hamilton. Those guys may be pushing for a 1-stop. The safety car will help them get to that kind of point, but they need to stay out till like lap 11, 12, and then go hards to the end. So interesting strategies at play, and that's what I really like about this regulation change with the tyre compounds. There is so much more that you can do flexibility-wise in these races. It's no longer just one-stop races, medium to hard or medium to soft. There's actually genuine strategy. You really have to think about it. We've done racing for about 6 corners, and already the tyres are at 7% and climbing almost every corner. So that is absolutely nuts. Maybe it's a 3-stop race. It may genuinely be a 3-stop race, but we're going to try and push for the 2. I think if we do a 3, we're going to be caught out massively by the AI, who seem to be better on their tyres than me in these recent races. In the slipstream of Carlos Sainz, I'm using overtake. I'm in the slipstream, but that Red Bull is so quick in a straight line. We get up the inside of the Ferrari, able to brake so much later with our lower top speeds and more downforce. So made pretty good use of that. There's a yellow flag further back. I think it's one of the Alpines or one of the Williams. Safety car is deployed again in this race, which actually is a bit of a welcome change. It's Oscar Piastri retiring from the Grand Prix. This actually helps us get to the end on a 2-stop at this stage. But as we saw when one of the Ferraris was going past us, they actually have some front wing damage, as does Charles Leclerc. But again, they're not responding, they're not reacting, they are staying out. So with their damage now, hopefully there's no pressure from behind. Hopefully they just chill out and maybe can be rear gunners for me. Safety car is coming in. We're getting ready for a restart, and we're only 2 places away from P1, from the promised land, from our championship rival, Fernando Alonso. Esteban Ocon is the only man who stands in our way from us and a potential championship fight here. Around the outside we go into turn 1, trying to get the better exit, better traction, and we're not quite going to get there on the hards. We need to be patient. These tyres do need a little bit more coercing to warm up, to get in their optimum operating window, and with the hards as well, they're going to phase in quite nicely. We're going to be much quicker in a few laps time once those mediums burn down a little bit more. So just chilling at the moment, staying in the DRS of Esteban Ocon. As I predicted, these guys with their damage are fighting away very hard behind us, and actually opening up a bit of a gap. I think we've got a second already before the DRS even gets enabled. So let's hope that squabbling can keep up and we can have a guaranteed P3 in this race. That'll really ease the pressure. Again, another safety car. Another one. That's 3 in a career mode race. This is turning into Creator Series at this rate. One of the McLarens is out. I think that was Robert Schwartzman. So McLaren potentially in the mud today with their championship constructors points. If Teo can continue to move forward, then we're looking good. Actually, that was only a VSC. That wasn't a full course safety car. Bit distracted there at the thought of a championship rival being out of this race. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton making a move on one of the wheelies. Oh! Hamilton's out at turn 1. He got too eager into turn 1. And I think the Williams ahead, or whoever it was driving a little bit slow. It was an AlphaTauri. It was Pierre Gasly, who was previously leading this race. Hamilton was running with him. And, yeah, contact, Hamilton out, no safety car. Thankfully, the marshals were able to clear his car away very quickly and are actually able to stay under green flag running for the time being. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon settled into a nice rhythm. He's actually gapping me a little bit. We are on the fringes. In fact, now I think we've lost DRS with that back-end loss. Just on the curb, trying to get on the power nice and early. I am pushing very hard at this stage, guys, to try and get in the mix with these guys. But thankfully, they're actually boxing. Alonso in, Ocon in, and now they're going to hard compound. Of course, they had to stop again because they've only run mediums so far in this race. But we're going to carry on for an extra lap or two, and we're going to see if we can overcut and get fresher, harder compound tires for the rest of this race. Out come the race leaders, the effective race leaders, Ocon and Alonso, and they're going to rejoin in a bit of traffic there, as you can see, with the midfield runners. So potentially a bit of time to be gained here by staying out long here. We've got Leclerc behind us, still with his damage in that Red Bull. Watch behind as we're not using any battery here because we're below 10%. And Leclerc with DRS comes out of nowhere. 7/10 behind at the start of the straight, and he overtook me before we got to the braking zone. This reminds me of the McLaren Honda days where Alonso was just absolutely loving life in a slow car on the straights. This is what it feels like today. It literally feels like we've got like parasails. We've got sails in our boat, and we're riding against the currents, against the wind, and we're just going nowhere on the straights. So it's not fun. Anyway, in comes Charles Leclerc in the Red Bull. Still hasn't changed his wing, by the way. I guess he deems that it's not really worth taking the 5 seconds to change that wing, but still got 12 laps to go. That's a lot of laps. He could have made up the difference with a clean front wing. Even his pace with damage is still very, very strong. But we're carrying on. I think we're going to box this lap. We've stayed out an extra few laps. We've tried to make the most of the AI in a bit of traffic and battling. I'm not sure that we've actually managed to gain time here. But, yeah, we've kept up a decent pace. And I hope that by having these extra few lap fresher tyres, we should be a lot quicker compared to the AI. And if there's a safety car or VSC, then we're absolutely in the money for this race win. Speaking of, there is a yellow flag on the back straight. That could be a retirement. I think it's one of the AlphaTauris. Pierre Gasly is out of the Grand Prix. He's had quite the adventure today, leading at one point, crashing into Hamilton, racing at the front, racing me, and now his engine has given up the ghost. And he'll see no further part in this race. A safety car right now would be perfect timing, but I don't think we're going to get it. There goes the race leaders, Ocon and Alonso, flying past on the straight. And the gap is going to be somewhere near 5 seconds in the final 10 laps of this race. Maybe I've carried on too long here, but I was almost adamant that there was going to be a safety car or they were going to get held up a little bit more than what they did. But their pace on new hard compound tyres has been mighty, and we can't discredit them for that. Meanwhile, coming out of the pit lane, my tyres were absolutely stone cold. Rear tyres are getting up there. They need to be about 80 degrees or more. The front tyres were a little bit slower coming up as well, which is surprising given how we were running through the fast S section. They usually heat up quite quickly, but yeah, interesting how the tyres now work with this current set of regulations. So I'm still getting my head around it and understanding what the best strategy is, but yeah, we need to really get a handle on this because I feel like the AI are doing a better job at the moment. Maybe I need to be more aggressive. Go medium, hard medium instead. The medium is always a great race tire as opposed to the hard, which always takes a lot of work and love to get going. And by the time we do get going, the race could potentially be over like today, as we're seeing. Anyway, side by side with Leclerc as we go up the inside into turn 1. That should be job done. This guy is driving so well, considering he's got front wing damage. That Red Bull is so damn quick. Not only on the straights, but through the corners as well. He's able to carry so much speed. I've had to actually work quite hard to be in a position to overtake this guy, and we're finally on the podium now. But 7 laps to go. It might be too little too late now to try and catch the likes of Ocon and Alonso. As we do see a yellow flag, that could be our saving grace in this race. Ferrari coming together. Both of them have damage now as they're running side by side through the penultimate corner. That's Lando Norris with a front left end plate missing. As we see from Carlos, his front right is missing. And I think he just understeers into Lando. Lando, the bromance is being strained right now. Ferrari in the muds. And they are a long way behind the race leaders at this point. But I think they're being stubborn. They're staying out. I think now at this point it's the best course of action to get the most points. They're not going to recover after changing the wing and chucking on a set of softs now. I think it's going to be GG for this race. Unfortunately, no safety car for us. As you can see, we're pushing very hard. Not for the first time this race. Bit of a swapper on the rear end. Yeah, like I said, I'm just pushing super hard to try and get in the DRS and do something in this race. And actually, we're losing time to Alonso. They are so much quicker at this point. Maybe we've made a bit of an error with the downforce today. Maybe we've gone too high and we're just throwing away lap time on the straights and not exactly making up as much as I thought I would through the corners. But yeah, we live and we learn, and we'll come back stronger in the next race. But it's going to be P3 in this race, barring any calamities in the dying laps here. Hopefully Ocon can get in the mix with Alonso. He's keeping him honest, to be honest. 1.2 seconds, but not quite close enough to go for a move. If he could get P1 and take 7 points off of Fernando Alonso today, that would be absolutely huge in the context of our championship. But Kevin Magnussen is actually catching up to us in the Alpine. He's been lapping quite quickly. We've just had no pace in this race. We qualified P12, and we haven't exactly had the pace of a podium runner. And, whoa, oh, no way! Magnussen's gone straight on at the left-hander at the end of the straight. Massive lockup just as he got into the podium. We fell off the podium, and we had no response, and it was an unforced error from the Alpine driver on the last lap, which gives us the extra 3 points to stay alive in this championship. Oh my word, that is a get out of jail free card for us. We're going to take the 15 points. The pace has just been nowhere, guys. Even with fresher, hard compound tyres, we just couldn't turn it on today. A big recovery from where we were in qualifying, but still nowhere near the pace of the front runners, and that is a big wake-up call in this US Grand Prix. 15 points.
Great work, well done. We're really happy with the podium here, well done.
Well, Mark's happy. To be fair, with the pace that we have, a podium is a massive result. I can't believe we managed to recover that well.
A beautiful performance from McLaren today. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, you know what they say, to finish first you have to finish. The fact was clear today, with a lot of retirements having a big effect on the outcome of the race. As a driver, you tend to keep reliability concerns at the back of your mind and just focus on what's in front of you. But for teams, races like this can be very stressful.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving that they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track.
GG's to Fernando Alonso, totally dominant today. Qualified at the front, stayed at the front, controlled the race. Just can't complain, really. McLaren are the benchmark at the moment. They're so quick, they're so consistent, and Alonso is going to take every opportunity he gets with both hands. He gets another win in this US Grand Prix, further cementing his lead at the top of the driver's standings. We'll get an update on that in a second. But yeah, for us guys, this is a strong track for the AI. They're very good on traction. They're very good in a straight line. And we just weren't fast in the right areas. We made a setup blunder, and I'm not overall great around here. But considering where our teammate is, that's a great recovery. He kind of went nowhere in this race. Starts at P8. Went down to P9. We moved forward quite massively. We made the right calls on the safety car and such, which got us in a position to be fighting for the podium. So, damage limitation for sure, but going forwards, it's a scary prospect that Fernando Alonso is in that car and has that lead. But, yeah, given where the car's been at, maybe we shouldn't even be in the conversation for the championship. We've driven so well to be even this close heading into this point. But yeah, a few races remain in the standings. 4th in the Constructors. Let's see what we can do. We need another race like Japan, where we had the strongest car for some reason. The car really suited that circuit. We need to go back to the drawing boards and see if we can extract a little bit more performance out of this car through setup, through our driving, through strategy. Because at the moment, in terms of upgrades, I think we've drawn a curtain on any more progress. We can do an ultimate brake upgrade, but we need to consolidate that for next season. We're limited on Spec 3 for the engine side, so we can't get any more engine power out of it. So I think the focus has to shift to next season with our resource points. So it's a very tricky position to be in. I feel like we're fighting for this title with one arm tied behind our back, but we'll do our best. We're going to have to hope for some misfortune for the cars ahead, and we won't give up. We'll keep giving it our all, and hopefully fortune is on our side for the upcoming races. That was a massive moment in this race, which helped get us the podium. But thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. These career mode races are very exciting at the moment, but we need more big points. Let's see if we can get it in the next Grand Prix.